The unholy alliance between the House on the Hill and the two houses of Parliament is in jeopardy. And evidently, there is trouble in paradise. Parliament has since 2013 cultivated a culture of causing up to the executive. And it's now on the defense against a charge led by President William Ruto. For both the arms of government, however, it's a race to rekindle somewhat a lost public legitimacy. On the Monday report this evening, we'll be talking to Abdikadir Mohammed, Senior Counsel. In his company will be Senator Moses Kajwang, who represents the county of Homa Bay. And also in their company will be Sheila Masinde, the Executive Director of Transparency International Kenya. I am Ayub Abdikadir, standing in for Trevor Ombeja. And here are the top stories this evening.
We have seen that facilities are looking for innovative ways to cheat the system, but our digital architecture is designed to detect and flag anomalies at every stage of the claim process.
The Ministry of Health rejects 10.6 billion shillings fraudulent claims, orders the closure of more 45 health facilities.
Unanyamaza tu hivyo, unapata message kwa simu, wewe mtoto wako mlete tarehe 15. Wewe mtoto wako mlete tarehe 25.
Back to school. Thousands of learners resume classes for the third term amid uncertainty over schools' funding. Kwabinzaro exhumation. 4 more bodies exhumed, bringing the total number of bodies recovered in 3 days to 13.
There is no any other alternative to leadership. This is a struggle of change between the old and the new.
Challenging the status quo, a new political outfit dubbed Third Force emerges, vowing to reshape the country's political landscape. And Yulan Zale is our sign language interpreter. In the ongoing anti-fraud campaign in the health sector, the Ministry of Health says it has intercepted 10.6 billion shillings fraudulent claims by health facilities to the Social Health Authority and stopped the payments. Subsequently, 45 health facilities behind the fraudulent claims have been ordered closed for non-compliance. This comes amid growing public outrage over online campaigns over allegations that funds under the Social Health Insurance Fund and Primary Healthcare Fund have been diverted to ghost facilities, according to the allegations. Lillian Mule brings us the details in the following report.
The Ministry of Health has intensified the crackdown on health facilities found to have falsified claims to the Social Health Authority. Just 2 weeks after 40 health facilities were suspended following findings of a forensic audit that linked them to claims of falsification, another 45 facilities have been struck off the list of healthcare providers for fraudulent activities. This brings the total number of health facilities that have so far been shut down to 813.
Since I took office on April 1st, 2025, we have intensified the fight. The primary function of our digital system is to detect fraud. We have seen that facilities are looking for innovative ways to cheat the system, but our digital architecture is designed to detect and flag anomalies at every stage of the claim process.
The audits paint a troubling picture. Common fraudulent schemes include billing for more expensive procedures than those actually performed, submitting altered or false medical documentation, conversion of outpatient to inpatient, and submitting claims for services provided to non-existent patients. Dwale says Mandera County is the most notorious, with facilities colluding to submit fraudulent claims for patients who were allegedly admitted on the same dates across multiple facilities.
8 facilities in Mandera, 312 patients, we have the names of those patients, went through 8 facilities in one town, in one day, and making the claims to Social Health Authority. Nabwala Hospital in Bungoma falsified claims for multiple cesarean section on the same patient within days and supported maternity claims. in Kotiende Medical Center in Homa Bay, fabricated clinical documents with a single person signing off for both day and night shifts over consecutive days, which to us is humanly impossible.
Subsequently, the Social Health Authority has rejected claims worth 10.6 billion shillings flagged as fraudulent or non-compliant. Another 5.1 billion is under re-evaluation and surveillance, while 7.6 billion shillings worth of claims is still under review.
To all our health providers, consider this a final warning. Organizations have no contractual obligation with the Social Health Authority. That is not provided in the Social Health Authority Act. For example, Nairobi Hospital, Aga Khan, Kenyatta National Hospital, Kenyatta University, any facility, both public, private, faith-based, have individually contracts with the Social Health Authority. So this is a final warning that we are watching. Any facility, any doctor, or any patient to be involved in fraudulent activities will be held liable and will face the full force of the law.
Out of claims worth over 9 billion shillings, 7.7 billion shillings has been paid to primary healthcare facilities, while 53 billion has been settled under the Social Health Insurance Fund. Meanwhile, the ministry has concluded headcount of the universal health coverage staff and will absorb those with clean records from among a staff establishment of 7,414. Lillian Muli, Citizen TV.
And thousands of learners resume school for the third term amid a funding crisis that threatens to cripple the education sector. Parents and stakeholders in the sector have been sent into panic mode as learning institutions reopen without a funding strategy in place, despite promises by the Ministries of Education and the National Treasury. Marianne Nyambura has that report.
It's back to school as learners resume classes for the 9 weeks long final term of the year. Learners jammed various bus termini as they sought transport to their various schools. But even as parents strive to ensure that learners get back to school on time, there is growing concern over funding, given that schools were forced to close earlier than scheduled in second term, over funding crisis occasioned by failure by the government to release capitation.
Sai mnataka mtoe sai na watoto ni wako kwa shida sai, sisi wasasi changamoto ndio hiyo. Sasa tunaomba serikali hata president mwenyewe uangalie hiyo maneno.
Ya kwanza kabisa ni kuomba serikali wa release capitation, kwa maana wakienda kwa shule bila capitation hawatapata nafasi ya kusoma sawa sawa.
Since the government is not giving the schools capitation, it has really affected our business.
The Ministry of Education is yet again making promises. Education Principal Secretary says they are in talks with the National Treasury.
And I want to assure the country that we are putting measures, we have made the exchequer requests, and we are expecting that in the next few days, money will be in our schools.
A commitment undertaken by National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, who pledged to disburse 23 billion shillings to the 45,000 schools across the country.
Tomorrow, money for capitation will go to the Ministry of Education. But it is not enough. So I want you to help National Treasury by making more resources available. We educate our children, we provide enough money for health. Education
stakeholders hope that the funds will be disbursed to avoid disruptions in learning during the shortest term of the school calendar year, during which national examinations are administered. Marianne Nyambura, Citizen TV.
4 more bodies have been exhumed at Kwabinzaro village in Kilifi County, raising the total number of confirmed deaths to 13. Leading the exercise, Coast Regional Commissioner Rodha Onyancha revealed that 11 people have been arrested so far as police intensify investigations into suspect cult-like activities in the area. And as Laura Otieno reports, preliminary investigations have shown that some of the victims were previously rescued during the infamous Shakahola incident.
The Kwabinzaro exhumations continued on Monday as a multi-agency team combed through the thickets that border the Shakahola forest. 4 bodies were exhumed and an additional 8 body parts, bringing the confirmed death toll to 13 and 18 parts collected so far. Police now rounding up 11 suspects in the ongoing probe.
We've arrested the main culprit, the lady who was operating here, and also for 10 other suspects. So we have a total of 11 people who are with us. Investigations are going on, and also we really want to investigate and establish who sold this land to her, because this is Chakama Ranch.
Though the process of DNA profiling has not begun, preliminary investigations have shown that some of the victims had been rescued during the infamous Shakahola incident.
Some of them were not fully accepted by their families or communities where they come from, and that made them to come back to this area. Of course, they didn't go to where we had the first incident. You can see they came further inside.
We've interrogated many locals, and they actually fear giving out information to the government because they feel that whenever they talk, they are actually among the people that are being held, that are actually put in custody for basically giving information to the government.
The homicide department had mapped out a total of 27 graves at Kwabinzaro, which borders the infamous Shakahola forest. The exercise continues Tuesday. Otieno, Citizen TV.
2 months after the June 25th and Sabasaba demonstrations, scores of protest victims remain hospitalized at the Kenyatta National Hospital. Nursing injuries including bullet wounds, deep fracture and other multiple complications. Our reporter Ode Francis spoke to some of the victims still hospitalized at the facility and filed the following report.
Inside the male ward, we meet Edilton Mburu, Kevin Mwangi, Alan Chege, Dennis Keiro, Daniel Murige, and Maxwell Otieno, victims of the June 25th and Sabasaba demonstrations. Maxwell Otieno sustained serious injuries to his arm when a tear gas canister exploded as he attempted to shield himself near the archives along Nairobi's Moi Avenue.
Mkono imeunganishwa aje na mguu? Kuna vile nilipoteza nyama mingi kwa mkono. So alisema ndo aisee na vile wataishikanisha na mguu for 3 weeks alafu ndio naenda hospitali.
Kevin Mwangi was transferred from Othaya, Nyeri County, after being shot on June 25th during the protests.
Alishutiwa hapo, katokea hapo. Siku ya Machi 25th June. Nilikuwa risasi 3. Wapi? Ni moja.
Tulipigwa 3. Another protest victim, Edilton Mburu, was arrested during the protest in Dagoretti near Equity Bank. Later released but shot twice in the leg when ordered to leave. Many of the victims remain unaware of what happened to the bullets removed during surgery.
Sikuonyeshwa risasi yoyote, lakini picha zangu za zilipigwa za X-ray ya kifua inaonyesha risasi 2, na lakini ya mkono haikuonekana mahali. Sasa hizo X-rays hata waliniambia zilipotea juzi tu. The moment wanakutoa hizo bullets wanakudischarge. Akiwa tu.
Na bullets zenyewe ziko wapi?
Hatuko na bullets. Lakini tulikuwa tunashughulikia very fast.
Nobody is ready to answer you. That's the sad part of the story. That no doctor, nobody is taking the responsibility of even explaining where the bullets went, where they are, who shot them. But all they have written on the file is their mandamano. And so the bullets, we haven't seen even one. No single patient have seen.
When they talk about compensation, what is in it to cushion them from mental distress? Kuna mikakati kwa sababu pesa tu hazitoshi.
No IPOA officer has ever come to this hospital to follow up on these cases. So we are seeing them say that they're investigating, but we're wondering what is the process of investigation if you're not involving the victim of the process of the protest.
As the days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the silence surrounding these victims grow louder. Their wounds may be healing, but the scars of unanswered questions remain. Ode Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
The National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi has outlined key reforms aimed at the reduction of wastage in government. Speaking during the launch of the budget preparation for the financial year 2026-27, CS Mbadi put on notice accounting officers in ministries, departments and agencies who are yet to onboard the e-procurement, warning of consequences for those who will not comply with the order. The CS further added that there will be no turning back on the matter, as Jimmy Mbogo reports now.
And this e-procurement, you people must implement it. This resistance I'm seeing, you will just have to stop it.
There is a clear warning from the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury to all accounting officers in ministries, departments and agencies. A visibly agitated Mbadi is now saying there will be no turning back on the implementation of e-procurement in government, even as he outlined clear consequences for accounting officers who will be caught on the wrong side of the directive.
Oh, it is not working. Gee, what? I am not going to buy that narrative. I know many people are frustrating this system. We are not going to allow it. You better embrace the system and get going. Otherwise, you will not procure.
According to the CS, the country's shrinking fiscal space is straining economic growth, with only 9% of total allocation going to development expenditure, an issue that has necessitated the introduction of key reforms to cut on wastage. Mbadi fingering procurement as a key source of wastage through inflation of prices to favor specific suppliers.
So someone has quoted 1 billion less, but is denied opportunity to do business with government because you want another person to win that tender. And so you will manipulate the documents. You will plug those papers. That is what we are trying to cure with e-procurement.
According to the CS, the government could save upwards of 200 billion shillings through the implementation of e-procurement systems. To further curb wastage, Treasury is set to start paying salaries through the integrated payroll system beginning this month, with counties being given just 1 month to comply.
Now we want to unify what we call Human Resource Information System with IFMIS, and to make sure that there are statutory deductions so that as we pay salaries, simultaneously KRA gets their payee, SHA gets the SHA, and NSSF and all that are recipients of such reductions get on time.
Some counties pay 55% of their revenue of what they get, both from the national government and on-source revenue. They pay 55% to staff. They have employed people who should not even be in the payroll, directors of everything.
Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, an undercurrent is swelling in the political scene, challenging the status quo of government and the united opposition. The emerging Kenya Moja movement, also dubbed the Third Force, is now prompting serious debate and a shakeup in the political arena. Spearheaded mostly by younger political players, the movement brands itself as a bold alternative to the status quo, while openly opposing President William Ruto's administration. Could this be the groundwork for a new political party in the country? Here is Melita Oletenges.
Nilianza tu kimchezo hivi, nikaweka kwanza poster, ikaenda.
What began as testing the raging political waters is quickly morphing into a powerful political shift. The Kenya Moja movement, or the Third Force, is now making waves in Kenya's turbulent political waters.
We are not a third force. We are the only force. Because there is no any other alternative to leadership. This is a struggle of change between the old and the new. It is a transition. The way we transitioned from the colonialists to now African leadership.
Positioning themselves as the voice of reform, proponents of the movement say they are seeking accountability and a revival of democratic faith among citizens. However, critics within their own parties see them as rebels, possibly even traitors.
You know, Melita, we are not rebelling in ODM. We are not rebels. We are working within the dictates and principles of democracy. Those who are rebels are the ones who went to Boo Baba the other day when they called for a joint PG.
The resistance is there. We are being threatened day and night. We are developing a thick skin. Woe unto you if our skin becomes thicker, because that means there is nothing else you will be threatening us on.
Tumezingirwa kila mahali na maadui ambao wanataka kutumaliza. Herode anatokea huku. Saa kidogo Goliathi ametokea pande hii. Nebukadnezar ako mbele yetu.
These leaders are now stepping out from the shadows of their political mentors, spreading their wings with independence that they hope will reshape the traditional voting patterns in the country. But without a political vehicle, is Kenya Moja laying the foundation for a new political party?
Movements will germinate into a political party. If it becomes a political party, so be it.
Every political party is always registered with an intention to get the people. But the moment we have the people, then in ourselves, the name Babu Owino, ain't it bigger than almost 100% of the political parties in this country? So Babu Owino alone is a political party.
Their ambition doesn't stop there. The Kenya Moja wing claims that more prominent politicians sitting on the fence, like Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro and Nyali MP Mohamed Ali, may be joining the cause.
In politics, there is the sky and the ground. The sky are the principles. And the sky will always depend on what the ground says. But if we can get to the ground directly, then we don't need the sky.
And with the November 27th by-elections looming, Kenya Moja has already hinted at backing candidates of choice in the specific areas. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
ODM and UDA women MPs have rallied locals in the county of Nakuru to back President William Ruto's push to fight corruption in the country. Speaking in Njoro in Nakuru County, the lawmakers called on Kenyans to reject leaders engaged in divisive politics in the country. Here's Stephen Leto.
The women lawmakers converged in Njoro for a women empowerment program. The lawmakers revisited President Ruto's remarks on the fight against corruption and called for a concerted effort within government to slay the dragon of corruption in the country.
Kama mbunge, kwa sababu nimekuwa sasa huko miaka 7 kuelekea 8. Hii ufisadi inatoka chini inakuja juu.
Na sasa hii ametoa kimango, yani amechomoka na sema no corruption. Hata kama wewe ni besa yake utakaa kando. Si anafanya vizuri. So mtu kama anafanya vizuri, don't judge within 3 years.
UDA women lawmakers present in the event took issue with the opposition leaders, particularly those propagating divisive politics, and called on Nakuru locals to reject them at the ballot.
Our constituency ilichimba shimo na ikaweka ukabila, ikaweka chuki, na ikaweka maovu, na ikazika kwa kaburi la sahau. Mnajua vita ya wanasiasa wakikosana ndio mnakuaga watu wetu. Sasa ile wanakura amkuagi watu wetu. Mnakuaga watu wetu tukikosana.
The leaders lauded President William Ruto's efforts of uniting the country through development projects. In Malava, Kakamega County, other Kenya Kwanza leaders mounted a campaign for the revival of the agriculture sector in the western region and called on the farmers to embrace the government as it moves to pass the sugar levy bill to open up roads in the region.
Tunaenda kuharakisha zile regulation za Sugar Act, tulipitisha ile sheria ya miwa. Na katika hizo sheria tuko na 4% sugar levy ambayo inafaa iwe pesa inaletwa mashinani kutengeneza barabara zetu.
Mimi najua mnaenda kuchagua directors. Hawa directors ambaye mtawachagua muangalie sawa sawa ili wasiende kuuza shares ya watu ya Malava.
The leaders were in Manda Shivanga, Malava constituency during a fundraiser for the late UDA aspirant Dr. Enoch Andanje. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
The Monday Report takes a break. When we come back, some few stories to run you through, including business and sports and the fight against corruption. To what effect, considering Kenya's dark past in the prosecution of graft, here on the Monday Report, and we welcome your contributions. The hashtag is Citizen Monday Report at Ayub Abdikadir at Citizen TV Kenya, and you're watching the Monday Report. Stay tuned. Coming up, memorial service held in remembrance of Amref Pledge crash victims.
Imagine owning prime land near Nairobi for just under $1
in honor of Amref flying doctors personnel who perished in a recent aircraft crash. Family, colleagues and friends paid tribute to the crash victims for their dedication and selfless service in saving lives. The crew was on a humanitarian mission to evacuate a 2-year-old child from Somalia when their aircraft went down in Moihoko area in Kiambu County. All 6 victims have since been laid to rest as investigations into the cause of the accident continue. Citizen TV's Ben Kiroi attended the memorial service.
At the Nairobi Chapel Church along Ngong Road in Nairobi, a solemn memorial service was held just a day after the final victims of the tragic plane crash were laid to rest. The service held in honor of the lives of 6 individuals, 4 dedicated members of Amref Health Africa, and 2 civilians from Moihoko community in Kiambu. They lost their lives in a devastating Amref aircraft crash that occurred on August 8th.
I still hold on to his last WhatsApp message to me just a few minutes before he took off, telling me that he'd gone for a flight and that he would be home late that evening. That was our last exchange. None of us could have imagined what would follow.
As a family, we mourn Brao deeply. Yet in this pain, we have discovered something about ourselves. How strong we are together, how much closer we have become, and how intentional we have grown in showing love.
At first, when we heard the news, some of us were not able to accept it. We were like, after some time, she will be able to reach out to us. She'll be able to tell us that she was able to escape.
Charles was a light to our parents. As the last born of 5 boys, he brought such a zest into our lives, both to his parents and to his siblings.
Tributes flowed as the congregation remembered Captain Muthuka Munove, Captain Brian Kemani, Dr. Charles Njoroge, and Nurse Jeno Musula, all selfless professionals committed to delivering emergency medical care. At the time of the crash, they were en route to Somalia on a life-saving mission to assist a critical ill child in need of urgent medical evacuation.
The men and women we are talking about here are not your ordinary folks. We're talking about Captain Munove with over 10,000 hours of flying. 10,000. 10,000 hours is 431 days of flying non-stop. It's a long time. Brian, 5,800 hours. Between them, 15,800 hours in the cockpit.
Also mourned were James Getau and 12-year-old Yvonne Nasimiu, residents of Moihoko who tragically lost their lives when the aircraft came down in their neighborhood. An investigation into the cause of the crash that occurred is still underway. After 18 somber days of mourning, the final farewells have been said for the 6 individuals who tragically lost their lives in the aircraft accident. All 6 victims have been laid to rest, bringing a measure of closure to a period marked by grief and reflection. Ben Kiroi, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Transport was paralyzed in Nyeri town as matatu operators withdrew their vehicles from the roads in protest to a directive by the Nyeri County government to move them to the Field Marshal Muthoni Kiremba bus terminus. The operators, who claim that the move will lead to the loss of livelihoods for those who fend off the matatu business, now want the county government to reverse the decision. As Kamau Mwangi now reports, the operators have since urged residents to find an alternative transport means until the standoff is resolved.
This notice by the Nyeri County government issued on Thursday last week
announcing the closure of 3 existing matatu terminai in Nyeri town and directing all public service vehicles to operate from the Field Marshal Muthoni Kirima bus terminus took effect Monday, prompting protests from public service vehicle operators who withdrew their vehicles from the roads, paralyzing transport. The coordinated protests are begun by shutting down the main artery into Nyeri town, so the operators accused the devolved unit of high-handedness.
Hauta control county kama classroom. Hatutasimama hapa, you create 1,000 jobs and kill 100,000 jobs. We are not going to be a part of the death of this town.
Hii magari unaona hii yote watu wamekopa pesa ndio wanunue magari. Tutakuwa tunaenda hatua mbili, moja mbele, tunarudi mbili nyuma.
Kama shinaenda huko juu, narudisha parking. Hasara hiyo yote sasa magari kama yenye tunafanya hapa Nyeri kwa siku moja. Tuafanywe hesabu ya siku moja, hasara yenye tunaenda siku moja ya parking na parking. Hata sijui kama inaweza hesabika.
The protest that began at 6 a.m. on Monday forced many of those that depend on public transport to trek long distance or seek alternative means. Businesses also remained shut for the entire day for fear of vandalism.
Upande huu wa chini kuna mto. Upande huu mwingine kuna hospitali, kuna KMTC. Upande huu wa kulia kuna mto, kuna riparian rat na kuna road reserve. Hii stage watu watapanuka namna gani? Biashara zitakuja wapi huko nasema zitakuja.
Tunaomba hawa watu wa county na watu wa matatu waongee hii mambo ya mgomo tuone kama itaisha.
Efforts to move the matatu operators to the 600 million Kenya shillings facility built in downtown Nyeri by World Bank to aid in decongesting the town have been subject to protracted court battles, with residents now calling for an amicable settlement to the dispute.
Na town ikae hivyo tutaendelea vizuri na tutanawiri. Wakae na sisi hapa ndio customers wa flow.
Na ni kitu walijadiliana na county wajengewe hiyo stage waende huko. Sasa wakati stage imemalizika wanakataa kwenda. Wanataka nini town?
Kama Mwangi, Citizen TV in Nyeri.
Moi University striking lecturers have rejected an offer by the University's Council, saying it does not meet their demands. The university's academic staff union Eldoret City Branch Secretary General Busolo Wekesa said that they have been negotiating with the employers since Thursday last week but have rejected their offer. The lecturers went on a strike on the 20th of August over the return to work formula signed with the University Council on November 30th, 2024. The union now wants June and July 2025 salaries paid as per the negotiated 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement rates. The leaders say new management is weak and unable to handle issues facing the university.
Wana medical scheme. Hiyo iko kwa terms of service, wakati mnaajiriwa unapewa medical scheme ili ukiwa mgonjwa, familia yako wakiwa wagonjwa watapata matibabu. Kuuliza wenye wanauliza kwamba tunafanya mgomo wakati wanafunzi wamekuja, tuambie mnataka tufanye mgomo lini?
So we had an agreement between ourselves and the relevant government organs. We are perturbed that up to now no one has bothered to respect that agreement.
Mkiangalia vizuri serikali ulipa walimu wa primary schools na secondary schools na colleges. Serikali ulipa walimu directly from the exchequer. Alafu serikali utuma capitation kwa mashule ili iweze kufanya operations na kulipa support staff. Lakini kwa chuo kikuu serikali imekataa kulipa walimu directly.
You're watching the Monday Report. After the break, business and sports, and later the discussion that revolves around the fight against corruption following the statements made by the President during the joint UDA-ODM parliamentary group meeting at State House a week ago. And now there seems to be the full-blown war between what was an unholy alliance between the executive and parliament. But to what effect? After the break on the Monday Report. Stay tuned. Time for business on the Monday report. Nearly half of Kenya's ordinary revenues collected goes towards servicing the country's debt and paying pensions and salaries of constitutional office holders. This as the National Treasury expresses concern over the country's shrinking fiscal space amid a growing expenditure problem. Speaking during the launch of the budget preparation cycle for the financial year 2026 and 7, Treasury officials noted that ordinary revenues have declined from 18% of the gross domestic product in 2023 to 14% of the GDP. Here is Jimmy Mbogo with that report.
The financial year 2024-2025 saw a revenue underperformance, with revenues growing by 8% compared to the previous year of 2023-2024, where revenues saw a steep climb of 14%. It is this shrinking fiscal space that the National Treasury wants could plunge the country into more debt. Although the country's revenue have increased nominally from the financial year 2010-2011, where revenues stood at 609 billion shillings to 2.4 trillion shillings in the financial year 2024-2025. The growth rate continues to decline, and with nearly half of the ordinary revenues being mopped up by consolidated fund services, which includes expenditures such as public debt servicing, pension, subscription to international organization, Treasury now says this is not sustainable.
CFS, this is interest rates and pension, is taking up now 48.5% of ordinary revenue. So of revenues that we collect, almost half of it is going to just pay loans and other obligations. So over 10 years, it has gone up to almost 50%. You can project, if we continue like this, the next 10 years, it means we'll literally be collecting to pay our obligations.
The Kenya's economic outlook has been facing challenges, mostly as a result of debt payment and debt servicing cost. That's a fact. You have been informed that now we are consuming about 48% of our ordinary revenue is going into servicing our debts in terms of interests. That is not sustainable.
Treasury has also hinted at tighter revenue administration measures as part of efforts to reverse the declining revenue to GDP ratio through the implementation of the tax policy, increasing efficiency in revenue collection through automation and digitization, as well as minimizing tax expenditure.
We want to reverse this trend of reduction in revenue to GDP. So you see on this side, the right side, we want to reverse this trend by moving revenue as percentage of GDP to 18% and even to 20% as indicated in our medium-term revenue strategy.
Treasury remains bullish that the actions taken to ease the debt pressures in repaying the June 2024 bond are bearing fruits.
Another reason why you are seeing us doing relatively well is because our exports, there is something that has happened in our exports, especially the coffee and horticulture. We are exporting more. Exports grew at 7.7%. That growth has narrowed the current account balance from 2.6% of GDP in 2022 to 1.3% now.
Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Analysts are cautioning that Kenya must maintain strict fiscal discipline, even as global ratings agency S&P upgrades the country's long-term credit rating from B- to B. The agency says stronger foreign reserves and diaspora inflows are helping ease liquidity pressures, but rising debt remains a concern. Here's Dennis Otieno.
The latest S&P report lifts Kenya a notch higher than other global ratings, citing improved liquidity buffers as a key factor for financial stability. Economist Churchill Ogutu says the country's foreign exchange reserves, currently at $11 billion, provide a vital cushion for meeting external debt obligations.
The overarching theme is on the improved liquidity to be able to service this external debt, because everything else might be good, but if there's not that liquidity as and when you need it, everything else comes to naught. If you look at the stock of the public debt, is pretty much split between external and domestic. And the main issue is now on the servicing on the external debt.
Kenya's public debt stands at about 11.5 trillion shillings, nearly half of it external. The S&P points to robust diaspora remittances and stronger exports as factors supporting the shilling and helping Kenya keep up with repayments. Ogutu adds that the upgrade reflects notable progress over the past 2 years.
The decision probably came by a surprise, but nonetheless, we've seen that even from the Kenyan perspective, there's been a lot of improvement over the last 18 to 24 months in some of the metrics that the credit rating agencies look at, which somehow warrants an upgrade.
Still, the report warns that high interest costs and missed deficit reduction targets remain risks. Analysts say unless spending is reined in, the momentum from this upgrade could quickly fade.
The last financial year, we were not able to meet it, achieve it. The current financial year, who knows how it will be. But as we implement the current financial year's budget, there could be some tweaks along the way. So that is something that obviously they'll be keeping an eye on. And on fiscal consolidation, it ties on revenue mobilization has been quite constrained amidst the fiscal finance Bill 2024 that was thrown out. So it just shows the strains that the authorities are having in terms of raising revenue measures.
Dennis Otieno, Citizen TV.
The Kenya Union of Sugar Plantation and Allied Workers says that all the recently released sugar mills must absorb all 5,000 workers, failure to which they will face industrial action. The announcement comes a week after the Muhoroni and Sony Sugar companies issued redundancy notices to employees to terminate their contracts by the end of October. The union says that the government must also pay all pending salaries and accrued benefits by the end of October in order to facilitate the transition process.
We are saying everybody to be reabsorbed, not a chance. It is a question of her insisting that the operations of the companies will continue the way they have been operating. So there is nobody who should leave employment. There is no question of guesswork. We are happy with I can single out Muhoroni. They have come up to say they even want more people. Probably they might even engage more people. Sony was talking of 80%. We don't want to hear anything like 80%. We want to hear every employee is absorbed. The only option of people exiting, there are two options. One, those ones who have attained retirement age. Those ones will exit. Two, those people who volunteer to leave. Those ones will exit. The rest should be taken on board and continue working. And at the same time, so they have been earning.
The Communications Authority has launched the Africa Broadband Mapping Systems, a continental initiative aimed at expanding internet connectivity and promoting digital inclusion across 11 sub-Saharan African countries. The program, led by the International Communication Union with backing from the European Commission, is looking to harmonize broadband mapping to inform infrastructure investments and policy planning. The European Union has committed 15 million euros to the project, which will finance initiatives such as connecting 1,000 primary schools to the internet. Other participating countries include Nigeria, Uganda, and Botswana, among others. The country's broadband penetration currently stands at just 44%.
We gather here today to launch an initiative that will give us, all ICT stakeholders, the data we need to make our digital policy powerful, our strategy effective, and our investments productive.
We are deliberate in our efforts to address the identified gaps in our broadband ecosystem, specifically in data collection, verification, and regulatory monitoring. It goes without saying that efficient and accurate data collection is critical to maintaining an up-to-date broadband map that truly reflects the realities of our ecosystem.
I would like to say that this is not only about Kenya. This is connecting the region. So all the countries who are part of this broadband mapping can, of course, exploit the inter-country connections, and this will unlock further opportunities, regional opportunities, cross-country opportunities.
African culture-themed products have increasingly gained traction across the globe, with more Kenyan entrepreneurs now investing time and resources to produce these products. Wendo Craft Africa is one such venture, adding beauty to African products that range from kiondos to baskets and mirrors. Edward Chwe tells us more in our Made in Kenya segment this week.
Stitching, nailing, beading. This is Wendo Crafts Africa, a venture founded by Terry Mwendwa to make African-inspired products.
At Wendo Craft, we make handmade beaded items from beads and leather, and a number of African-inspired items. We add beauty to most of the African items that we identify as African or traditional African items. We also outsource and add value other items like the kiondos, the Turkana bags, the Turkana baskets.
Terry's idea was inspired after she was conned online. Challenged, she embarked on making items she loved, from mirror frames to wall clock frames, baskets, bags, table mats and coasters, belts and wallets.
The beauty with our work is that we tailor-make to customers' taste. For beadwork, we have to prepare the beadwork first, and then we prepare the leather, and then we start the process. We have about maybe 7 stages until the complete products, which we end again with the finishing off, weaving with the leather, which you'll see on the site.
In the 3 years Wendo Crafts Africa has been in existence, Terry says her target customer base has expanded to include corporates and tourists.
Our targets are both corporates and individuals, people looking for unique handcrafted items. We also target resellers, both locally and abroad. We supply to the Maasai markets. We also sell maybe to Kenyans, especially US. We have a number of customers. We sell to curious shops around the country, especially those with the tourist points, places like Nyeri, Nanyuki, Naivasha, the borders like Namanga.
Tell us about your workforce. How many employees do you have, and do you train them on the job, or they come with the skills?
We work with the youth. We have 8 currently full-time. They have all trained on the job. It takes around 2 to 3 months for them to get trained and give quality work, but it's a learning in progress because there are various designs. And we have around other 14 whom we call when we have huge orders.
With the demand for Wendo products going up, Terry looks forward to expanding the business and creating more employment opportunities for the youth within her community.
We aspire to train more people, to employ more youth. I envision a situation where we can also incorporate this maybe even in the technical, vocational, training institutes, and to grow Wendo Craft to the small space we are now, and also for our products to be known globally. And I hope as a person to leave a legacy.
Edward Chwe, Made in Kenya, Citizen TV.
The 3-day tournament brought together top golfers from across the country, sponsored by Shabiki.com and View Travel, among other sponsors. Megan Jerry has the details of that report.
Defending champions Muthaiga Golf Club set the early pace on day 1 on Friday, shooting to the top of the leaderboard ahead of Railways Golf Club and Nyali Golf and Country Club. The second round of day 2 mounted pressure on the players, with strategic plays and steady nerves were on full display. The ultimate goal was to be at the top ahead of the final and decisive round on Sunday.
For Muthaiga, we are very good at it. We have very good players. So this afternoon, our teams are leading. The other teams are a bit tired. The secret is just the rotation. So tomorrow, we hope to close it out with fresh legs and get the trophy home.
This round attracted enthusiastic fans who brought color, energy and unwavering support for their clubs. The Patrons Cup 2025 attracted top government officials led by the Principal Secretary Sports Elijah Mwangi, the President of the National Olympic Committee of Kenya Shadrack Maluki, and the President of Golf Philip Ochola, underscoring the tournament's stature in the national sporting calendar.
We want golf to be part of the Olympic movement. We've not had golf before in the Olympic representing Kenya, but now in this tenure we look forward to having golf in 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles.
This is a product that has grown over the years as we commemorate and also respect our patron, the late His Excellency Mwai Kibaki. We were honored to have Moses Tanui from the first edition, who offered us the trophy that he won at the Boston Marathon. And so we are very privileged to have those kind of people with us.
Muthaiga Golf Club once again proved their championship pedigree with precision and teamwork. The hosts retained the coveted Patrons Cup title for the 4th year running, an extraordinary feat that cemented their dominance on home soil.
We retained the title last year, as we did the previous 2 years, and our hope is that this year we'll retain our title. And we've had a fantastic morning. We've had a clean sweep of our matches. We maxed out on the 8 points, so the boys and the team are highly motivated.
Muthaiga Golf Club chairman Dennis Mirigi emphasized the club's pride in hosting yet another successful edition of the Patrons Cup and reaffirmed Muthaiga's commitment to nurturing golf talents.
We thank all our partners, obviously Citizen being one of them, for stepping in year on year in a bigger way to support this wonderful event. The event has grown in leaps and bounds from when it started in 2022 to a level where everybody feels that this will be the marquee event for amateur golf in the country going forward.
Tough moments, but I've never dealt with pressure like I have over here. I think I've played extremely great golf for the past few days, and I would just like to thank everyone who has a part in my journey, my caddy Kennedy, my parents, my grandparents, people at home. It really means a lot, and thank you for supporting me. Muthaiga Golf Club has always been here for me, no matter what.
This year's tournament was made possible through the support of partners including Shabiki.com, proud kit sponsors of the Muthaiga team, alongside View Travel, who played a key role in empowering the success of the 2025 edition.
We are not only offering a sponsorship to the tournament, but we're also sponsoring the players' kits. Our commitment to moments that matter in the sport, to showcase the best that the golfing fraternity has to offer in the country. We are so happy to be here.
This time we are back and we have not been disappointed. As you have seen, it's even better and bigger, and even more brands are coming to embrace. So we are happy to see the corporates coming in. And us as View Travel, we are here to connect with them on the ground so that we can be able to sell to them and talk to them and connect with them.
Kenyans like to know that somebody else has been to this destination, what they can do there. I might say if they're what is there for me. And I think View Travel, if you partner with View Travel, we can design a package with View Travel, flights, hotels, activities, so that Kenyans feel confident to come to Barbados. They have a pre-arranged package that we also endorse.
As the sun set on Sunday evening, the Patrons Cup 2025 closed with celebration, unity, and a promise of bigger things to come. For Muthaiga Golf Club, lifting the trophy for the 4th consecutive time was more than victory. It was history in the making.